Honda's sales collapsed by nearly 30% in China in 2024, considering China is their most important market. In fact, they sold more than 1 million cars the previous year in the country. Well, you'd want to hope people like this thing. You'd really, really, really want to hope people like it, because otherwise Honda's in a lot of trouble. Honda's S7 has been revealed. It's an interesting looking electric car from Honda. I'm not sure if you'd call this a wagon or an SUV, guys. What would you call this? Let me know what you'd call this in the comments. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Dongfeng Honda, basically Honda, but it's a joint venture, of course, in China. They have announced the Honda S7 crossover. It's coming soon. It's going to get Huawei's assisted driving, sort of like Tesla Autopilot, I guess you could say. And the company is not calling it the Yi S7 or the Yi P7. It's just calling it the S7. The S7 and P7 are very similar. The main difference, according to Car News China, is that the S7 is manufactured by their Dongfeng joint venture. The P7 is made by the GAC joint venture. Very confusing for customers in China and potentially customers around the world. I'm going to guess that at some point Honda will probably sell these outside of China, because the P7 and the S7, they're exactly the same car, just made by different companies. I've never seen this before. How big is this car? It's actually a similar size to a Tesla Model Y. In fact, a little bit smaller. It's 4,750 millimeters long. It's pretty heavy though. In fact, it's extremely heavy. It's 2,305 kilograms. So about 300 kilograms heavier than my Xpeng G6 or a Tesla Model Y, which, to be honest, my car is a slight little bit bigger. So why would it be so much heavier? I don't know. I'm going to guess it could be because of the pretty large battery, but that said, the battery of my car is not much different. To give you an example here, it's an 89.8 kilowatt hour NMC battery from CATL. The battery in my Xpeng G6 is an 87 kilowatt hour battery, so it's not much difference. So you can't really say it's heavier because of the battery pack. It's just heavy. Anyhow, it has surprisingly low range for a battery that size. It's 620 kilometers of CLTC range, probably around 490 kilometers of WLTP range, about 300 miles EPA. Considering that battery pack is quite big, it seems really low. Anyhow, it does have two motors. That could be part of the weight, I'm going to guess. And it has 150 kilowatt motor at the front and a 200 kilowatt motor at the back. Total power then is 350 kilowatt. That is 470 horsepower. Top speed is limited, surprisingly low. It's only 180 kilometers an hour for top speed. I know for a fact, I've driven on private roads. The Xpeng G6 does at least about 215 kilometers an hour. That's as fast as I was feeling confident to drive it. Now, you can get a rear-wheel drive variant, which is going to be a little bit lighter, but not a lot of difference, probably about 70 kilograms lighter. It has a 200 kilowatt rear-wheel driven motor. Apparently, Japanese investors thought Honda's own advanced driver assistance system, ADAS, was crap. So they said, Honda, nah, this isn't good. You need to find a solution. Honda went and said, Huawei, can we use yours? Huawei said yes, for a fee. So that's using Huawei's Chinkun ADS assisted driving tech. If you look at the interior of this car, it looks different. I think it looks kind of ugly. Some people might like it. It's more of a traditional looking interior. It doesn't have a ton of buttons, but it does have a very odd looking media screen in the middle of the car. Looks like it's actually two separate screens. From what I can tell, the top screen is a 12.8 inch screen, and then it's got a bottom screen just like glued to the bottom of it, which is a 10-inch screen. So in total, if you put them together, it's a 23-inch or 22.8-inch screen. Actually reminds me of the original Tesla Model S, you know, that one with a huge dashboard screen. I don't know why you'd think you'd need a screen that big, but anyway. It also, to me, looks very kind of gray and austere inside, but it's probably not bad. I mean, you know, it's certainly better than cars from 10 years ago, put it that way. Here's what Car News China has to say. Huawei's ADAS is the best in China, surpassing even Xpeng in many scenarios. It is China's biggest driving assistance system supplier, with customers like Dongfeng, Chang'an, GAC, BAIC, Series, Chery, and JAC. Thus, Honda is, well, making this car in China for China, and this will help Honda try to save itself in China. I mean, obviously Honda sales have they're in free fall in the country. Price, how much is it going to cost? Well, it starts at about 24,000 US dollars, and the most expensive version is 30,000 US dollars. So price, I got that wrong at the start. The price actually is going to start at around 27,600 US dollars, probably a similar price to an Xpeng G6, a little bit cheaper than a Tesla Model Y. But it will compete with the Model Y, the Xpeng G6, the Neo ES6, Xiaomi YU7, maybe compete also with the Zeekr 7X. Now, apparently it's a China-only vehicle, but I mean, seeing as Honda doesn't sell any electric cars, really, very few. I mean, yeah, they sell some General Motors cars in America that they badge as Hondas, they're actually GM EVs. Seeing as they don't really have their own electric cars at this point in time, I think it just makes sense for them to send these outside of China, sell them in Australia. You don't have any EVs here in Australia. Why? Why when you've got these? These aren't not too bad. Looks a bit weird, but not bad. Honda was traditionally one of the best-selling car brands in China. People thought the brand was great, but the shine has worn off. Sales fell by 27% in 2024. That's huge considering, the previous year, Honda sold more than 1 million cars, well over 1 million, but sales fell to 880,000. If sales fall again by a further 27% this year, which they very well could, you could be looking at the sales falling below 600,000. That's a big problem for Honda. That's a huge problem for Honda. The other problem Honda is facing is this idea of bailing out Nissan, which I think would doom them. Anyhow, what are your thoughts about this electric car? Would you consider buying one of these if it was a similar price to a Tesla or a BYD or an Xpeng? Personally, I think it looks a bit weird, but maybe some people like it. Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. We've just found out, guys, that Nissan, their merger with Honda and Mitsubishi, the deal is dependent on Nissan meeting certain numbers, which are going to be almost impossible to hit. So basically, Honda can just pull out of this. And remember, Honda is bailing out Nissan here. It's not the other way around, and Honda will be in charge of this new company. However, the big problem is that Nissan, their profits plunged by 90% in 2024, and yet they have to triple their profits in 2025 in order for this merger to be actually approved. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching The Electric Viking. Great to have you with us. I want to say a big thank you to our Patreon supporters. Really appreciate you guys. I'll put a link in the description to our Patreon page if you want to support us on there. But a big thank you, guys. I really, really appreciate you. Nissan must triple its profits to merge with Honda in 2024. Its profits fell 90%.